Mandy Burford, head softball coach at Samford University, is with us this morning. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Good to have you. By the way, Patrick Murphy said to tell you hello.
Oh, good old Murph. Looking forward to seeing him this weekend.
I know you will. Hey, before we get into your time at Alabama, let's talk about the amazing season you've put together there at Samford. And you're in your third season, and you have a really good club, and or this may be is this your third or fourth season?
This is actually my fifth.
Oh, your fifth season. Wow, I really better catch up. Time flies when you're having fun. But this has been a special season for your team, and to get to a regional, make history. What's it been like?
I mean, I'm just really proud of everything the girls have accomplished. It's been a journey. They kind of came up with the motto to go over a cliff for one another, and I think that exemplifies everything they've done this season. It's just kind of been building. The last couple of years we've had a little taste of success here and there, and then this year we were finally just able to put it all together, and it's just been really fun to watch. And I'm really, really proud that we've gotten to this point, and just glad to be one of the teams still playing. So
you had an idea going into the season that potentially this could be a special team.
I did. We've got a great group of seniors, and we have a really talented freshman class with a lot of key players in the middle. It's definitely the most talented team I've ever coached, and so I think it was just going to be a matter of putting kind of the pieces of the puzzle together. And fortunately, I have a really good staff, and we were just able to do that. We set some really high goals, and we were able to accomplish them. So I'm just really, really proud of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking now, I don't know why I didn't know this was your fifth year, because you took over for Stephanie, and when she came to Alabama, and this is her fifth season as a pitching coach, so it's got to be your fifth year as head coach. So you had some familiarity with Samford, having been there as an assistant coach with her. Did that help you in the transition to become a head coach for the first time, being at a program where you already had a little bit of experience?
It did. Samford's a great place. If you haven't ever visited, or anybody that has never visited, It is just kind of nestled in here on its own. It's a beautiful campus. We have a great administration. It's just from the top down. Everyone believes in, what we're doing. And so I knew that we would have the support that was needed. They built us a brand new facility, brand new hitting facility. Our indoors is amazing, brand new locker rooms, offices. So everybody was just all in and doing whatever it took to make the program successful, from our strength and training staff to everyone just bought in. And so it's just been a lot of fun.
Mandy Burford, head softball coach at Samford University, is our guest. You can follow her on Twitter, by the way, at Mandy_Burford if you want to keep up with what the Bulldogs are doing. The Southern Conference, the SoCon as we like to call it, a good league, competitive teams, very much a league with a lot of rivalries. Just talk about your conference. You did so well in it, and how that's prepared you to get to this point and get ready for the postseason.
Yeah, I was new to the league, and I think that our league is growing. James DeFeo, who used to be at LSU, he took over at Mercer. Frank Reed, who's been at UTC for years now, who's I think he's won the SoCon title the last 13 of the 15 seasons. Kyle Jamison, who's been all around different schools in the SEC and Syracuse, he's now at Furman. So I think our league is growing, and I think our goal is to increase our RPI and try to get more than one team in each year. And so I knew it was going to be a tough task to win regular season, but we only have 7 teams in conference. So if you win the regular season, you get a bye going into the tournament, which is obviously our goal. And so, doing as well as what we did in conference was a task itself. But hey, the girls did it. All the credit goes to them. They had to do it every day. I just had to sit back and watch.
The good news is now you just have to come down the interstate to Tuscaloosa to play in the Tuscaloosa Regional against Alabama. The bad news is you just have to come down the interstate to play in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. You know what you'll be up against on Friday. You did play here during the regular season. I think you'll admit Samford didn't play their best game against Alabama. Give Alabama credit, but I know you feel like you're a better club than you showed that night. But talk about the challenge, talk about the experience of having played here this year, if you think that will help you. And, what's the key for your ball club to hang in here against this Alabama team?
Yeah, I feel like I say this year in and year out that Alabama doesn't lose at home. The atmosphere that Coach Murphy has been able to create with the home field advantage is just incredible. It's something that I've tried to imitate here. It's something that I think everyone, should want to be a part of. So playing in Tuscaloosa, as the opponent is you're already at a disadvantage for anyone that comes into town. But, one thing I think that we have going for us is that, we kind of did the survive and advance thing last weekend. We weren't fortunate enough to know that we had an at-large in the bag. So a lot of other conferences, they can treat their conference tournament as like a warm-up for regionals, and we didn't have the luxury of doing that. So, we've already been through the survive and advance thing, and so I think that kind of prepared us for the upcoming weekend. But, we're definitely going to have a tough task at hand. Texas State, Cal, Alabama. I think it's one of the toughest regionals out there.
In that first matchup this year here at the Rhodes House, do you think your team battled nerves at all that night? And if so, as I mentioned earlier, having played a game here already this year, will that help you on Friday? Yeah,
I think nerves are one thing that's really difficult to coach. You don't know when it's going to come out, or you don't know when or what's going to happen. We just try to prepare them as best as possible, and it kind of got the best of us with Alabama, with Auburn, took Mississippi State extra innings. We were leading Ole Miss going into the seventh. I think nerves kind of got the best of us in a lot of situations. So if there was any year that we were going to be prepared, to be able to battle back and kind of redeem ourselves, it would be this year, because we were in a lot of games that we either just, did some uncharacteristic things or kind of didn't finish the game whenever we needed to. So, I'm glad we've already played them there in Tuscaloosa once this year. I think that can prepare us as much as possible. But I don't know. I'm ready to go. It feels like this week's taking forever.
Visiting with Samford softball coach Mandy Burford here on the Gary Harris Show on Tide 99.1 on the Bud Light Hotline. Let's talk about Patrick Murphy. We mentioned him earlier. Obviously, he's a mentor for you. You played for him for 4 years, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. You went to a couple of Women's College World Series. I think made it to the Super Regional every year that you were here. You were a captain in 2007. That's kind of where you learned the game at this level from him, and I know you served as a graduate assistant as well. Talk about his influence on you as a coach and your experience of playing softball at Alabama, and I'm sure that helped you decide that this is something you want to be involved in for the rest of your life as a coach.
Yeah, Coach Murphy really taught me the game. I think all the credit to my success kind of goes to him, Allie, and Murph, Murph, Allie, and Van, because softball wasn't big in the state of Alabama when I was growing up. We played slow pitch until I was in ninth grade. And so he kind of, it took me a couple years to grasp how fast the game was. And so, I owe all my credit to him, because I wouldn't be where I am now without him. And I didn't understand things as a player that I get now as a coach. And, I think that's one thing that everyone in my shoes or that goes back and coaches that played can say, is just that you don't understand things while you're going through it. And then when you get to look back on it, you get why he does the things that he does and why he's so successful and how he really teaches team over me. I think every year they have a different philosophy, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to boil down to, the team needs to win and how important the dugout is and, believing in the person behind you. And he just, it's just a culture that he creates. And I think that's why so many of us that played for him go on to coach, because we want to continue doing the things that we learned while playing for him, which is exactly what, I've tried to do, is just set an example that he taught us while we were there.
You made a great point when you were coming out in 2004. Fast pitch softball in the state wasn't anywhere close to where it's at now. I mean, we see the state now, and there are people, of course, Alabama signing a bunch of in-state players. Auburn, West Coast teams are coming here to recruit. I mean, it has taken off. It has exploded with the travel ball with the high schools. But you're right, fast pitch softball was still in its infancy in the high schools when you were coming out of, the Anniston area there in 2004. How did you wind up getting an opportunity to play at Alabama? Tell me that story.
Yeah, it was kind of random. It was late in the year, and got a couple phone calls, and Allie and the John Hayden, who used to be the SID, actually drove down and watched me play a game. And I think I can't remember who we were playing, but I think she walked me like 5 times. I mean, it was just the speed of the game was just not very good. And I was just athletic. I played all three sports. Volleyball was probably my better sport than softball coming out of high school. And I think he just kind of recruited me as a utility kid that was fast, that could do a lot of different things. And I just kind of had to make my mind up after my second year, after my sophomore year, that, I was sick of sitting the bench and I wanted to figure the game out, and I didn't want to experience that anymore. And, I think that's something he pushes you for, and I think that he always has such a talented group that there's so many great players around me that really elevated my game, and I think the way he manages to have so many great players on rosters who are always the best player on any team they've ever played for, to come in and either learn how to, take their role as a bench player or learn how to be the star. He teaches you that, and he makes you believe in it. And I think that was one of the biggest things I learned from him, was that I'd never really sat the bench before until I got to Alabama. And once I made my mind up that I didn't want to do that anymore, then, he just challenged me every day to be better.
Like we were talking about, you look around the state now, and the fast pitch softball is incredible. But I guess now that you're the head coach at Samford and you played at Alabama, and I guess you're kind of a celebrity over there at Sachs High School these days, huh?
I don't know about that. I don't get to make it home as much as I'd like, but I did notice there are a lot of teams in Calhoun County that have made it to the to state this week. It's going to be played in Montgomery, so I think the sport of softball is really growing. It
really is. Now, I know all you can worry about right now is that first game against Alabama at 4 o'clock on Friday. Cal and Texas State play in the first game at 1:30. Of course, Texas State has a former Bama player. Kelly Kretschmann's an assistant there on that team. The field overall, when you look at this regional, what do you think of it?
Well, I think there's great pitching. I think every team does something that's really good. Great pitching and a couple great hitters, and it's going to be a tough lineup. I think that's one thing you don't experience we don't experience at Samford until we get to regionals and until we get to those final games in the SoCon tournament, is a tough lineup 1 through 9. I don't think there's anyone that will be able to pitch around or not pitch to or try to go straight at. I think everybody will have a tough lineup, and everybody's going to have, either a full staff or an ace that, will have to be prepared for, have to have a game plan for. So, I don't know. It's just going to be tough. It'll definitely be a good weekend of softball.
I know you're preparing your team to win. That's the goal when you come here to play Alabama, or regardless of who you were playing. But the fact that it is double elimination, and regardless of what happens in that first game, you're going to play again. I guess that's for a coach, that's reassuring in the sense that if you have a bad game, it's not over. You do get to come back and play again. You like the double elimination format. I'm sure all coaches do in these type of tournaments. Yeah,
and this is our first go around with it. I'm fortunate to have a staff that made regionals and made the World Series and went to Super. So, we have knowledge of it. But I don't know if you remember or not, but my senior year, we actually lost Tennessee Tech in the first game.
I do remember that. Yeah, shocking.
And that was not fun. No, because the second game was the one that ESPN was hosting, and I remember ESPN was there, and we were not on TV, and just how miserable that was. And was not a fun experience. And so I think the double elimination there is there for a purpose. So if you have a bad game, you can battle back through it. But yeah, everybody, I remember one thing Coach Murphy said, no matter who we were playing, is, everybody puts on their pants the same way. Everybody laces up their cleats the same way, and we all got to go play the same game. And so, we're just looking to do what we do well and hopefully, give a great game and come out on the winning end of it.
Well, you're going to have James Hardy rooting for you.
Yeah, James has been great for us. He calls a great game every weekend we're at home. Can't say enough about James.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. I know you're busy. I appreciate you taking the time, and good luck this weekend in Tuscaloosa.
Thank you so much.